So welcome to our Main Street Masters series presented by Mainstreet SA. I'm David West, your host, and today we're talking about trends in main streets and city centres over the past few years with Bjorn Bergman, the CEO of the Swedish Association of Towns and Cities. Bjorn is managing an association with around 180 municipalities, council, companies, businesses and property owners. So welcome, Bjorn, and thanks for your time.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Can you tell us about the association, when it was first formed and how it's grown over the years?
Yeah. This is an association that started in 1993 already. So we had our 30th birthday last year. And it all started as to try to work with the cities with the competition from external shopping centers mainly. So we had to do something, and we had to organize our work in a better way. And it was a tough competition. Over the years, the goals have changed and the work has changed a bit. I'll talk more about that later. We've been more professionalized, and now we work in 4 different areas of operation. We try to inspire cities to work with their city centers. There's no such thing as a hopeless case. There's always room for improvement, but it takes a lot of efforts and engagement in working with developing it. We also work with education. We try to support our city center managers, and we've developed training programs for the role of city managers. We support our cities with different tools, process tools, to try to make the partnerships more methodical. So our members can use these tools to create a sustainable and effective collaboration. And I'll talk more about that later on. And finally, we try to spread some knowledge about working with city centers. Not everyone understands how a city center works and what it takes to make an attractive city center, and who should be involved and who's responsible for things. So we also have a board of researchers that help us with trends, and they also help us with the education program. And you could meet them at our conferences as speakers.
I think one of the interesting challenges that cities have is there was a slide that I saw a long time ago that had whose job is it in the city centre, and it's like who's looking after all these different jobs that's going on, around who's looking after the signage and who's looking after the cleaning and who's looking after the telephone boxes when we had them back then. But the drains and
you have telephone boxes in Australia.
we did once. Come on. But it's all the complication of a city centre, and who's looking after all that? It's coordinating all that sort of work.
Yeah, and is it on the level that everyone is satisfied with? Because sometimes you have a basic level, but if you raise the level a bit, the businesses can do so much better. So there's a lot of different questions to answer when it comes to city centers or Main Street.
Yes, and over the 30 years then your association's been going. I mean, I suppose COVID's probably been the biggest change, but what other changes have you seen?
Well, since we started, the threat was the external shopping centers. Since then, we have a tough competition from the e-commerce, but then the retail section has somewhat lost its function as the main attractiveness to a city center. And I think it's hard to come back to that period. So we have, as an organization, mainly focused on creating attractive meeting places in the city center to attract footfall and to attract visitors. And if we succeed in that, it also helps the businesses. But the retail is still actually the main reason when it comes to visiting the city center. But it's not as crucial as it was before. Not in Sweden anyway.
I think it's interesting that a lot of the streets have sort of focused more on the food, creating that atmosphere and experience of the restaurants and cafes. But that category seems to have really struggled to get back out of COVID and get labor and start to get back on its feet again. Are you finding the same thing?
Well, we have actually recovered quite well, but not fully. We suffer from there's a lot of the office spaces is not fully leased, and people work from home in a much broader way now, and this means that the market has slowed down in the city centers, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with all the vacant office stores or office spaces. Will they be residential areas, or do we have something else to put in those vacant spaces? So we suffer, but still, it seems like people spend money in a different way now. The shopping has gone down, but the experience, the fun part with restaurants and cafes have actually increased even more after COVID. So people spend money on experiencing new things and less on shopping. That's my trend analysis.
I must mention here that point about fika, because I didn't know what fika was, and of course it's a cafe culture, and could you just explain it a little bit how it came about?
Yeah, well, I think we have coffee breaks, and there's a culture around it with lots of cakes, and it says that a good fika always have at least 7 different cakes. Uh, but it's a culture in Sweden that you take a coffee break, the whole office closes down, everybody sits together and have a fika. And it's actually, I don't know if that's very special for Sweden, but during these fika times, there's a lot of things going on. You get to know each other on a different level.
Interaction, yes.
The interaction. You can solve a lot of problems during the fika pause because you're more relaxed. You have a discussion about something that was going on, and in that relaxed atmosphere, it's easier to find solutions on different problems. So the fika time is very important.
It sounds like around the water fountain in the office sort of thing.
Absolutely.
A lot of things get decided,
Yeah.
or in the lift.
Yeah. Well, some of us reach a level where the 7 different cakes is not an option anymore. So
Got to watch the health. I was going to ask you, you're talking before there, you mentioned about training. When you're training your city managers, what sort of things are you training them in?
we try to, we have a very broad perspective on city managers. They need to do and understand quite a lot. So we try to give them all the perspectives that the stakeholders have. So we try to teach them more about how a property owner works, what makes him successful,
Yeah.
motivated and successful. Why is he acting in a specific way? And we always say that if he's acting in a special way, it's not about his personality, it's about his business. So he needs to take certain actions. He needs to have a certain approach to different problems. And we try to teach them all the different perspectives from the municipalities. What makes a retailer work? Why is he acting kind of sometimes short sighted? while a property owner works with a 50-year perspective. He's more laid back, but he needs a strategic direction for everything they do, while a retailer needs action here and now, not tomorrow, today. And to work in that area, you need to have these different perspectives. A municipality, I mean, you have politicians. Why do they act like they do? Well, they have an opinion to take well, they have to understand that the opinion can change their work very easily. And if you work as an official, the most important thing for a municipality official is to not do anything wrong. And has nothing to do with the personality. It's about the work that they do. And we as taxpayers, we hate when someone uses our money in a wrong way. So they have to survive, and to survive, they can't make any mistakes. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but these different perspectives is something that a city manager needs to understand and needs to have a relationship with all of these different stakeholders. And to understand them is the beginning of doing something good together, to have a cooperation that actually works.
I'm just going to
That's
ask
a
how.
long answer.
So I was going to
Sorry.
ask. No, that was great. I was going to ask how your private-public partnerships work. I mean, what they're based on.
Yeah, well, we have several different ways of organizing the partnerships, of course. But the model is mainly 1/3 for the municipality, 1/3 for the property owners, and 1/3 for the businesses like retailers and cafes and restaurants. And there's always someone in charge, like a CEO of the partnership. And the rate differs, of course, in many ways, but many times the municipality is financing almost 50% of what the businesses put in. So but they're often very small organizations. They don't have the resources to change anything in a city.
Mm-hmm.
Their main uh, uh, their main focus is to be the network, the spider in the web, the genius in the middle, as David Downey in IDA says sometimes. The genius in the middle who actually brings all the stakeholders together and enlightens them and help them that so that when they make the decisions at home, they make smarter decisions because they understand more about how things work.
Okay. And you deliver a range of services, and I know you deliver the quality mark. I wonder if you could just explain about the quality mark, please.
Yes, well, in the cooperation between public and private sectors, it's really difficult, and sometimes one of the stakeholders just have had it and they just leave the meeting, and then they realize that, oh my God, there's 1/3 of the financing just left, and so it's not very sustainable if you're not methodical and have a systematic cooperation. So in a project in the EU with 12 different countries, we formed something called the quality mark. A quality mark is to prove that your cooperation will be sustainable for quite some time, at least 3 years. So it requires that you have agreement with the municipality,
Mm-hmm.
that you have a budget, that you have financing in place, and that you have a common vision for the stakeholders and a strategy in some ways. And if you have this quality mark certification, you're also qualified to become the city center of the year, which is quite an important award in Sweden.
So it's sort of quantifying best practices.
Yes, yes.
Best practice governance, delivery of services and being
Yes.
organized.
Yes. If you're talking about the award, right?
Yes, the quality mark too, and the award, yes.
Yes, the quality mark is to make sure that you have everything in place, that it's all agreed on. And so it's more like a checklist. And if you can say yes to all the questions, you are awarded the certificate. And it's free for our members to apply and to be certified. And if you have this qualification, then you can become the city center of the year.
Wow.
And that's the criteria to become the city center is that you have to, we don't compare cities with each other. We compare the cities with themselves. So it's their travel, their
standards,
and the travel that they've done. I mean, where do they come from and where are they now and where are they going? And is the collaboration working very well, etc. So we've been giving out that award for like 20, almost 30 years as well. Yep.
Wow. I imagine it's a coveted award.
Pardon?
I imagine it's a coveted award. People would really love
Yes.
to win that. So
yeah, very much. And I keep telling them that's not important to win. The important thing is to have something in common, to have as a vision and a strategy to win.
yes.
Because that all the stakeholders together, they suddenly have a goal, a common goal to reach. But in the end, when it comes to the banquet and the winner is announced, it's always a kiss and cry in many places. Yes.
Wow. I was going to ask, the nighttime economy is very, very important. And the purple flag started sort of in the UK a long time ago. And I know that you've brought it over to Sweden. So how's that working? Have you adapted it to suit your conditions?
Yes, absolutely. So of course, we translated it. We speak Swedish. As you can tell, my English is not fluent. So we had to translate it, and not only language-wise, but also cultural-wise. We have a different approach to the problems, and I think the Swedish version is more focused on the process and the stakeholders working together to improve the nighttime economy. And less on marketing and using the purple flag as a communication tool. So we focus on changing things and not marketing it. So, but we should be more of the marketing than we have been. So, but we've done purple flag in about 35 different areas in Sweden. And we've had great success with many of them. We have addressed serious problems, and we have improved the business conditions in many places.
Wow.
So we have an award called the Purple Flag Award of the Year, the Purple Flag of the Year. So it's also something that everyone is trying to win.
So the best city that's adopted the purple flag strategies for the nighttime economy.
Yes. So they are the best practices. Yeah.
And can I ask how you've introduced like business improvement districts and the version, how you've done it, how you've incorporated that into your management techniques, please?
Yep. I've been interested in business improvement districts for about 25 years. I encountered it in Bryant Park 20-something years ago. And I was overwhelmed by the results that they could show, transforming this park from a very dangerous area in the dead center of Manhattan to one of the most visited places in Manhattan. And you can only imagine what the result is for the property owners around this park. They have skyrocketed, and so everything they put in, they get back 100 times. And I thought that would be introduced in Sweden very quickly, but there's a lot of difficulties with the laws and culture in Sweden. So we struggled for many years about how do we get this legislation going in Sweden, and we kind of focused on that for quite some time until we one day just said, we've had it. We're not talking about legislation anymore. We know that this partnership works. We know that this collaboration is the way to go forward. So let's do it, but on a voluntarily basis. So we created a process model that we've been testing. We've had researchers following the development in the different bid areas with our method, and we have now working and have worked in about 35, 40 different cities, and it works on a voluntarily basis. It takes some kind of group pressure, we call it, that you exclude the ones who are not interested. And you only work with the one who is really engaged in the process and who's very positive. And in the end, there's a lot of those who said no, who wants to join us because they get more information and they see the progress and they want to be a part of it. But still, we still have the ones that are not paying for the development. They're just free riders. And of course, that's the major issue. And at the moment, there's actually an I don't know, investigation? No. From the government, they have a special commission reviewing if we shouldn't get a bid legislation after all, but with a certain twist towards safety. We all know that if you talk safety, you will end up talking about attractiveness. You will end up talking about things that people enjoy and wants to be a part of, and not security measures, because security measures is just one part of it. So I think the new legislation will probably be is something that we could use even in the city centers for creating more attractiveness.
Because we know that the better events with more people there, it sort of reduces the crime and makes it a better place to be.
Yep.
I was going to ask you, with your research there, you mentioned the research, and do you have a collaboration with the universities, or you work with businesses to do that?
Yes, well, not universities, but professors at the different universities. So we have put together a board of researchers. They give us input on trends and different perspectives on the problems that a city center can encounter. So we have people from architectures, there are economics, and from very different faculties, all put together. And so we have 14 researchers that in the discussions, they give us a broader perspective on the issues that we have. And they also do a trend analysis every year that we put together in like a small book for our members to take part of.
Okay, so it gives them an opportunity to be part of that.
Yep.
That research.
All right. And the researchers also enjoy meeting and over the faculty borders, because that's a part of their education as well, to learn more about their own issues, but with different perspectives.
Yeah, no, that's been absolutely very insightful there, Bjorn. So, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with the Mainstreet SA people. You've been part of our Mainstreet Masters series, which is a new development we've created, and so we really thank you for the input you've had there. It was a lovely conversation. So thank you again, and I'm sure we'll speak to you very soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.